Okay, so I have Zoom and Instagram Live going, and today's class will be Yin Yang. It's a 60-minute class. So during the Yin portion, it'll be more stagnant holds, and during the Yang portion, it's more active postures. Take it easy wherever you are, so you can really do whatever it is that you want to do or don't want to do. Find a comfortable place where you can practice. If you don't have a mat, then you can practice on the floor. And yeah, I'll walk you through everything, but really just listen to your bodies and do what it is that you feel like doing today. We'll get started on our backs. Can everyone, I know everyone on Zoom can hear me. If you're on the Instagram Live, can you let me know if you can hear me? I'll assume that if you can't hear me, you would have said something already. Okay, great. Getting used to the technology. So we'll get started on our backs. The legs extended. Feel your points of grounding against the floor. And we'll move into Banana Asana. So the feet move towards the right side. Keep the hips on the ground where they are. Bring the arms overhead. And if you don't feel a stretch yet in the left side body, then begin to walk the hands over to the right side. If you still want to intensify the stretch, then bring the left foot over the right foot. Keep the body long here. The right side body and the left side body. And begin to breathe into the left side of your body to create space. Right now we're in a Yin posture, which is a posture held without moving. And the reason that we do this is to work the connective tissues, so that we aren't stretching the muscles here. In fact, we're completely relaxed against the floor. So you release your muscles to allow the connective tissues to stretch. And we hold these postures. We'll hold them today anywhere from 1 minute to about 3 minutes. You can close the eyes. Try and just stay here without moving. To allow yourself to connect with the breath at the beginning of the practice. Keep breathing into the left side body. And slowly begin to walk the hands and the feet back to center. The arms stay overhead and the feet slowly walk over to the left side. Keep the hips grounded where they are, and maybe the arms also move towards the left side. And if it's still comfortable, you can bring the right foot over the left foot to intensify the stretch on the right side of the body. try to create space on the right side by breathing into the right side, feeling the length. Try to have both sit bones grounded, the shoulders grounded. If you're on Zoom and your microphone is on, make sure to turn it off. Keep breathing. And connecting with the breath. Allow everything that you've done today to melt away into everything that you plan to do. And try to come into the present moment. Bring the arms and the legs back to center, slowly walk them over. And the hands come by each side of the hips. The feet come onto the floor so that you can touch your heels with your fingertips. The feet are parallel and about hip width distance apart. And we're slowly going to lift the lower spine, middle spine, and the upper back. And with an exhale, we'll lower the upper back, middle back, lower back. Inhale, lower back, middle back, upper back, and exhale, upper, middle, lower. Continue like that with your own breath. Try and keep the movement fluid so you're continuously moving. Really try to work vertebrae by vertebrae. And you can go slower or faster. The next time you come down, keep your back on the floor and bring the knees in towards the chest. You can rock from side to side. And then we'll start to go forwards and backwards until you end up in a seat at the front of your mat. Once here, bring the hands behind the head. Inhale to open the chest. Exhale, bring the elbows towards each other, the back stays long, and the chin comes towards the chest. So we're stretching out the neck. Inhale to open. Bring the elbows as far back as you can. Push your head into your hands. And exhale, the chin comes towards the chest. Elbows as close to touching as possible. Inhale, open. Exhale, bring the elbows towards each other. Inhale, open. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, open. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, open. Exhale, bring the hands by the side. Change the crossing in your legs. And bring the left hand to the right knee and the right hand behind you for a gentle twist. Look over the right shoulder. The spine is long. The twist comes from the upper back mostly. Come back through center and we'll twist to the left side. Right hand to the outside of the left knee and the left hand behind you. Come back through center and we'll roll over our knees to move into hands and knees. Bring the right hand behind the head. Inhale to open the elbow towards the sky. Exhale, bring the elbow to the wrist. Inhale to open. Exhale, elbow to wrist. Inhale, open. Exhale, elbow to wrist. Inhale, open. Exhale, elbow to wrist, and this time we're going to thread the needle. The right hand comes behind the left hand, and the whole right arm rests on the floor. Right cheek, right ear on the floor. The left hand reaches forward. Maybe you walk the left hand to the right side. Try and keep the hips over the knees, and the legs stay engaged here. We're here for 5 more breaths. 3, 2, and 1. Bring the left hand underneath the left shoulder. The right hand comes towards the sky. Right hand to the ground. Left hand underneath at the back of the head. Inhale to open up. Exhale, bring the elbow to the wrist. Inhale, the elbow to the sky. Exhale, elbow to wrist. Inhale, open. Exhale, elbow to wrist. Inhale, open. Exhale, the elbow to the wrist. And then you're going to thread the needle so the left hand comes behind the right wrist, the whole left arm on the floor. Left cheek, left ear on the floor, right hand towards the front. Maybe you walk the hand towards the left side. Keep the engagement in the legs and the hips over the knees. Feel the stretch along the right side and the left shoulder. For 5 more breaths. 2, and 1. Bring the right hand underneath the right shoulder, left hand to the sky. Left hand comes down underneath the shoulder. Make sure that the hands are about shoulder width distance apart. And we'll inhale to open the chest, bring the gaze towards the ceiling, and exhale, round the spine, gaze comes towards the belly button. Inhale, open. Exhale, gaze to the belly button. Inhale, open. Exhale, gaze to the belly button. Inhale, open. Exhale, tuck the chin in. Really push into the hands to round the spine as much as possible. Inhale, open. Exhale, round the spine as much as possible. One more time to inhale, open. And exhale, round the spine. We'll come back to center and we'll move into puppy pose. So the hips stay over the knees and the hands come towards the front of the mat. Rest your forehead on the ground. We're going to be here for a few minutes, so I want the forehead to stay on the ground instead of resting your chin on the ground. So really work on opening the chest here as if the armpits are going to touch the mat. The legs stay slightly engaged. And try and breathe through any sensations that are coming up. Keep the weight distributed between your hands, the forehead, and the knees. So you should feel a stretch here, but nothing too intense since we will be holding it. And if it starts to feel too intense or if you feel pain, then move out of the pose. Keep breathing. Just to play around with different sensations, try and have just the fingertips on the floor and see how that feels in your arms. Does it bring more engagement in the arms, more muscular engagement? Does it deepen the stretch? Is it uncomfortable and therefore you move out a bit? A few more breaths here. Three more breaths. On an inhale, roll the spine forward so that we rest our stomachs on the floor and the forearms on the ground. The elbows are directly underneath the shoulders, and the hands are directly in front of the elbows. And on the inhale, pull the chest forward. So pull the ground, and the chest comes forward, the shoulders come back. Gaze on the floor in front of you. If you feel any compression in the lower back or it's uncomfortable in the lower back, then engage your, how do you say it in English? Engage your gluteus maximus, I guess. So to relieve any compression, you bring engagement into the legs, and maybe even the feet push against the floor. We're here for a few more breaths. And when you're ready, we'll go to Child's Pose. So the knees stay on the floor, about mat width distance, the hands towards the front of the room. The forehead on the ground or resting on something. And we're just here for a short moment. Come back to hands and knees. The right foot goes towards the back of the mat, left foot towards the back. We're in a high plank. And on an exhale, the hips go towards the sky for downward facing dog. The hands are about shoulder width distance apart, and the feet about hip width distance apart. You can pedal out the feet, so bend one knee and then the other to wake up the backs of the legs. And try to distribute the weight in your hands. So it's not just to the wrists, but there's also weight in the fingers. So really push the fingers, the entirety of the hands into the floor. We'll come back to a plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. One more time. Inhale for plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. And start to walk the feet towards the front of the mat. Once they reach the front of the mat, grab each elbow in your hands for Ragdoll. Try and curve the spine, have a rounded spine, so you can bend the knees a lot. And maybe you move from side to side, right to left. Come back to center and slowly roll the spine back up, vertebrae by vertebrae. The head is the last thing to come up. The hands by your side. Step the right foot to the middle of the mat. Both heels are down, and then grab the elbows behind you, or maybe you take a reverse prayer. Inhale to open the heart, and exhale, fold over the left leg. Try and have the hips facing towards the front of the room. And gaze at the left big toe. Shoulders roll down the back, away from the ears. Feel the stretch in the back of the left leg. And on an inhale, come back up. We'll pivot to the back of the room. Keep the feet where they are, except that the toes will point towards the front. And we'll come into pyramid towards the back. Inhale to open the heart, gaze up. Exhale, fold over the right leg. Try and have the hips facing towards the back. So in order to do that, the right hip goes behind you. You're trying to push it behind you. At the same time, you pull the left hip forward. Gaze at the right big toe. Neck long, back long. One more long inhale. Long exhale. Inhale, come back to standing. Come back to the front of the room. Right foot meets the left. Inhale the hands towards the ceiling. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale for flat back, the hands come to the shins. Exhale, place both hands on the mat, right hand towards the back of the mat. Right foot towards the back, right knee to the ground. Left hand comes to the left hip, and we'll just do a few circles with the right arm. And now move the circles in the other direction. After your next circle, bring both hands to frame the left foot. Left foot comes to meet the back for plank. Bring the knees to the ground and slowly lower down. Inhale for cobra. The elbows stay bent and the elbows hug in towards the chest. Exhale, downward facing dog. Hips towards the sky. Two more breaths here. Walk the right foot in between the hands. If it doesn't quite get there, take the right hand and walk the foot forward. Then walk the left foot forward. Inhale for a flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale the arms towards the sky. And exhale, hands by the side. We'll do that one more time. Inhale, the hands rise. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, the left foot steps as far back as possible. Left knee to the ground. Right hand, right hip. And begin to draw a few circles with the left arm. And begin to go in the other direction. After your next circle, bring both hands to the ground. Move to a high plank. Knees to the ground, lower down. Inhale for cobra. The elbows hug in towards the chest. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the right foot off the floor. Exhale, step the foot in between the hands and move directly to a high lunge. The shoulders and the hips face towards the front of the room. The back heel is lifted. Bring the gaze to a point in front of you. Keep the gaze where it is, but we'll move to warrior two. The back foot comes parallel to the back of the mat. The arms are long. The hips are open towards the side of the room. Shoulders are open. And gaze over the right hand. Try to keep the weight evenly distributed in your feet. So make sure that the outside edge of both of your feet push into the floor and the inside edge. Reverse your warrior, left hand to the left leg, right arm up and overhead. While we're in this reversed position, straighten the right leg. Come back forward with warrior two arms, and we'll move to Trikonasana. So reach as far forward as you can. And once you can't go anymore, right hand, right leg, left hand towards the sky. Both arms are on one line, both legs strong. And imagine that even the muscles around the knees are engaged. Gaze towards the ceiling. Come back to warrior two. Front knee bent, arms in one line, gaze over the right hand. Bring the right elbow to the right knee, side angle pose.
Left arm up and overhead. The leg and the arm are in one line, the left leg and the left arm. Gaze can be in front of you, or maybe you bring it up towards the sky. Both hands frame the right foot on the ground, right foot towards the back of the mat. Knees to the ground, slowly lower down. Inhale for cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Inhale, the left leg lifts. Exhale, step the foot through. Inhale for high lunge. Right leg is straight. Right heel is lifted. Try and bend a little bit more into that left leg. Engage the leg a little bit more. Warrior two. Gaze over the left hand. The back heel comes down. Foot parallel to the back of the mat. Roll the shoulders down the back. And reverse your warrior. Straighten the front leg, the left leg. Move through warrior two arms. And then move forward and down, Trikonasana, triangle pose. Gaze up at the right hand. The chest is open here, so there's actually an opening in the hips and the shoulders, so don't fall forward or crunch in the upper back and shoulders. Come back to warrior two, the front knee bent, left elbow to left knee, right arm up and overhead, so that the right arm and the right leg are in one line. And keep engagement in the left arm so that the shoulder stays far from the ear. Bring both hands to frame the left foot. Left foot steps to the back of the mat. Knees come to the ground, child's pose.
And when you're ready, we'll move back into downward facing dog. Hips towards the sky. Inhale, the right foot steps up. The right hip goes towards the sky. Exhale, the right foot comes in between the hands. And lift up for high lunge. Exhale, warrior two. We'll move a bit faster this time. Reverse your warrior. Left hand, left leg. Straighten the front leg. Move forward and down. Triangle pose, Trikonasana. Gaze up at the left hand. And now keep the legs straight, but we're going to come back up. The feet come to parallel. Hands on the hips. Inhale, look up. Exhale, forward fold. Maybe the hands come on the floor. If they don't reach the floor, maybe you can spread the feet a bit wider and see if that helps you get lower. If your hands are on the floor, maybe you start to walk the hands in between the feet. Wherever you are, bring the weight further into the front of the feet. It will help you go further into the stretch. Keep the upper body relaxed. And bring a focus point to a point behind you. It will help calm the mind. Keep the legs engaged. Hands come to the hips and inhale, slowly rise with a flat back. Heels come in, toes point out, hands come to prayer position in front of the heart, and slowly lower the hips down. Inhale, come back up. The knees are pushing towards the back, and you're moving as slowly as you can. Exhale down. Inhale, back up. Take the full breath for this movement. Exhale down. Inhale up. 2 more times. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. We'll move down 1 more time. And the hands come to rest on the knees. Straighten the right arm, look over the left shoulder. Bring the hands to the knees so that you're pushing the knees towards the back. Come back to center and we'll twist towards the right side. Straighten the left arm. Gaze over the right shoulder. Come back to center and bring both hands to frame the right foot. We'll move through a vinyasa. Right foot to the back. Knees to the ground, slowly lower down. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Catch your breath here. Inhale, the left foot rises. Step the foot through, in between the hands. And rise to a high lunge. Warrior 2. Back foot parallel to the back of the mat. Reverse your warrior. While you're reversed, straighten the front leg and then move forward and down, triangle pose, Trikonasana. Come back up with both legs straight. Bring the feet parallel, the hands clasp behind the back. Inhale, look up. And exhale, forward fold with the hands clasped behind the back. Maybe the hands stay really close to the lower back, but the way we're trying to move is to imagine that the head and the hands will one day touch the floor. In another life. Stay here for 2 more breaths. Bring the weight further into the front of the feet. And inhale, come back up. We'll move back into our goddess pose. So bring the heels in, toes point out. Hands can come in prayer position in front of the heart and exhale, lower. This time we'll hold it and maybe you want to bring the arms out at 90-degree angle. Maybe you keep the hands at prayer position or maybe you rest the hands on the knees. Your choice. Engage the core, belly button towards the spine. Try and go a little bit lower. The knees are moving out towards the back. And come a little bit lower. Stay here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back up as slowly as you can. Bring both hands to frame the right foot. Move through a high plank. Knees come to the ground, child's pose. Inhale, come back to tabletop position and bring the right foot outside of the right hand. Stay here, or maybe in order to feel the stretch, you need to bring the left knee a little bit further back. We're in lizard pose, and we're going to hold it here longer than you would in a normal vinyasa practice. Stay here, or maybe you bring the forearms to the ground. You choose what feels right for you today. And keep breathing. Breathe into the areas where you feel the stretch. We're here for 5 more breaths. Three, 2, and 1. Keep the hands where they are, but the right foot is going to come behind the left wrist to prepare for Pigeon Pose. Gaze over the left shoulder to make sure that the left leg is straight and that the foot is in line with the leg. And then once you've checked that, maybe you start to walk the hands towards the front and rest the head on the ground. Try and rest the head on something. So I know you all don't have all of your yoga props, but maybe you bring the hands like this. You stack the hands one on the other so that you can rest your head on top. If it's very intense, also, the right foot can come closer to the hips. And the closer it is, the easier it will be on the hips. Keep breathing into the hips. For a few more breaths. Extend the right arm in front of you, and we'll just come to roll onto our backs. So push into the left hand. It's really hard to do this gracefully. We're all doing our best. Bring the right knee in towards the chest. Bring the left knee in towards the chest. And we're going to do an ab exercise here. You can choose where your arms go. I like to have them next to my hips, my hands next to my hips. You can also place the hands behind the head. Wherever you are, the shoulder and the head are going to stay on the floor, and we're going to lift the hips up into a ball so the knees come towards the chest. You can watch me for the first one. The knees come in, and then you bring the knees in front of you straight, the legs hover over the ground. But it's a fluid movement, so we inhale, lift the hips up, knees towards the chest, and then the legs hover above the floor. Knees towards the chest, and hover. For 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Try and get those hips up as high as you can. 2, and 1. Bring the knees in towards the chest. Maybe you rock from side to side. And when you're ready, we'll come back onto our stomachs. We'll roll over onto our stomachs and meet in hands and knees. The left foot comes to the outside of the left hand for lizard pose. Maybe you walk the right knee a little bit further back. Maybe the forearms come to the floor. Choose your variation here. Both hands on the inside of the left foot. Find your breath and breathe into the inner hips. Breathe into the area where you feel the stretch. Allow the upper body, the arms and the shoulders to stay somewhat relaxed so that the shoulders are far from the ears. The neck is long. The gaze is on the floor in front of you. Find a place, find your edge where you feel the stretch, but it's not painful. No feeling electric feelings or anything like that. We're here for a few more breaths. Sorry about that. Stay here with the hands on the ground and the left foot comes behind the right hand. The right leg is long behind you. You can gaze over your right shoulder to make sure that the leg and the foot are in one line, and then slowly walk the hands forward. Try and have the head resting on something, the ground, your forearms, your stacked hands. Find your edge here. Allow your body to melt against the floor. Breathe into the areas where you feel the stretch. Extend the left arm in front of you, and we'll try, and this time gracefully, move onto our backs. Maybe we're off the mat, so we move back onto the mat. The left knee is hugged in towards the chest. Bring the right knee in, and we all know what's going to happen next. And now you all know how to do it, so you don't get to pause and watch me. So move together. Lift the hips up as high as you can, knees to chest, legs hover for 10, 9, 8, engage the core. Tuck the belly button in towards the spine. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring the feet on the floor. The feet come to mat width distance. The knees roll one towards the other. Now we'll stay on our backs, but the feet will come together and the knees go mat width distance. So we're in a butterfly position. If for whatever reason you feel any pain in your knees, then try and find something so that you can support your legs. Maybe it's books. But if you feel okay, then stay here. We'll be here for a minute or two. Take this time to connect with your breath. So maybe it feels nice to have one hand on the stomach, one hand over the heart, and with each inhale, to feel the chest and the stomach rise, and with each exhale, to feel the stomach and then the chest lower. Inhale, the chest rises, the stomach rises, and exhale, stomach lowers, chest. Inhale, chest, stomach, exhale, stomach, chest. Stay here with your breath. Continue with a long breath. Allow the shoulders to melt on the floor. Another option, if you feel any pain in the knees or the hips, would be to come back to the position we were doing before, and where the hips are mat width distance and the knees fall together. We're here for a few more breaths. Slowly begin to place the feet back on the floor. Keep the feet as close to you as possible, the knees bent, the feet about hip width distance, and the hands by your side. We'll come back to a posture we did at the beginning of the class. So we'll inhale for bridge pose, the hips come off the ground. This time maybe we go a little bit further and the shoulders tuck underneath, the hands clasp. Push into the feet to bring the hips up as high as possible. The core remains slightly engaged here, and the legs as well. Push into the shoulders and the hands against the floor. And exhale, untuck the shoulders from underneath you, slowly lower down. We'll do one more back bend today. So when you're ready, inhale, bring the hips back up. Shoulders come underneath you, clasp the hands, and we're here for 5 breaths. Once your 5 breaths are done, slowly untuck the shoulders, lower down to the mat. Bring the knees in towards the chest. The hips go slightly to the left, knees fall to the right. Arms come to a T or cactus arms, gaze over the left shoulder. Both shoulders stay rooted in the ground. And close your eyes. Bring the knees back through center, and the knees fall to the left side. Gaze comes to the right. You can also move the hips slightly to the right. Keep the shoulders grounded. Inhale through center. We're going to grab the outside edge of our feet or maybe our ankles, and the knees come to outside of the armpits. The knees are bent. Stay here, or maybe you rock from side to side. Maybe you straighten one leg and then you straighten the other leg. Or just stay here with the knees bent. And when you're ready, we'll come to Shavasana, the final resting posture, corpse pose. The legs extend on the floor, arms by the side, eyes closed for a few minutes to integrate the practice. Begin to bring movement back into the fingers and the toes. Maybe you stretch the arms overhead and roll over onto your right side. And when you're ready, push into the hand to come to a seated position. Bring the hands in front of the heart in prayer position and bow the head, the forehead towards the hands in gratitude for yourself and for this practice. Namaste. Thank you.